Hi, I'm Nigel James from WorkNetCareers.com, and I'd like to give you the formula today to create your perfect LinkedIn profile.
Hello, my name's Tim Kitchen and I'm the other half of WorkNet Careers. I'm here to give you the perspective of the next generation of job hunters. Now, the notion of the career has completely changed, and it's no longer enough to just find your ideal job and then hope to work up the ladder. What we're seeing is people are taking responsibility and designing their own careers. Now, in this new climate, it's really important that you treat yourself, your career and your job search with a sort of startup mentality. So this is about taking responsibility for your current situation, learning to communicate and market yourself to potential employers, and also use things like personal branding. Your personal brand is really your shop front to the outside world, and it's your way to demonstrate your strengths to potential employers.
What we've discovered is that over the last 12 months or so, the way that recruiters and headhunters identify and select suitable candidates for a job has changed completely. It's shifted towards the LinkedIn profile. And so what we'd like to do is to show you how to create this perfect LinkedIn profile that will achieve your dream job. Okay, so let's think about the 6 key elements to a perfect LinkedIn profile. Well, why are we concentrating on LinkedIn first of all? Because recruiters use LinkedIn as their primary research tool, and recent research shows that 93% of recruiters use LinkedIn to view potential candidates and select appropriate people for roles. So your profile on LinkedIn is your personal advertisement. It's your brochure and your window to the job world. So in this context, the classic marketing principles apply. You need to get your message across and engage the reader so that they can see that your strengths and talents match their needs as an employer. So, what are the fundamental questions that a recruiter wants answered when they are looking for a potential candidate for a role? Well, there are 3 fundamental questions that need to be answered. The first question is, can this person do the job? So do they have the skills, the talents, the strengths that will enable them to conduct the job in an efficient and effective way? And do they have the technical knowledge and experience that goes behind that? So that's a minimum that a recruiter might expect from a candidate who's applying for a job. But is that sufficient in itself? Well, if you think about it, it's probably not, because what they'll also want to know is, will you do the job? So are you sufficiently motivated to actually get up in the morning and get into work and do that job? And so they'd want to explore your levels of motivation. And thirdly, they'd want to know whether you fit in. So if you're working with a team, if you're working with customers, if you're working in an organization, then your personality and your style needs to match the culture and the vibes of the job itself. So the key principles of the LinkedIn profile are that it's there to sell the dream of working with you. So you need to set yourself apart from the other candidates. You need to show that you fulfill your ideal employer's requirements. And so you need to have researched organizations that have your kind of ideal job and identify what sort of requirements they might be looking for. And even if you don't have loads of past experience, don't worry. That doesn't matter, because you can play to your natural talents. So look at what comes naturally to you, your strengths, and build those into your LinkedIn profile. So let's visit the LinkedIn profile page and see what it contains. So you'll see it has a profile picture, it has a headline, it has a summary of your recent jobs, education, and recommendations, and it outlines your education in detail. It describes your experience, and it has a section about recommendations. These are recommendations made by people who've experienced working with you, and these are very powerful. So starting from the top, we've got the profile picture. First impressions count. So we want to look happy, look as if we're an enthusiast, and reflect our personality. So the profile could be at work, or it could be you at leisure, doing something that you enjoy and that energizes you. Keep this profile simple, don't make it too complicated, make it appealing. Then we move on to the headline. This is what shows up next to your name in the search. So just like the advert on the headline on a job advert, the key is to engage people and to entice them to click on your profile. So think about the benefits that you might be offering a potential employer, and think about your key skills and strengths, and sell that dream of working with you. What does your employer want to see? Then we come to the summary. Here we link back to the three questions. Can they do the job? Will they do the job? Will they fit in? So we need to give examples of your key strengths and competencies, demonstrate your motivation, tell people about what you enjoy and what you're passionate about, and also give a summary of your achievements. So a potential employer wants to know what you can do for them, and you need to talk about the outcomes of what you've done in the past, so that they can relate that to what you might do for them. So looking at the experience section, not only telling people what you've done, but what you learnt doing it. So make it relevant to the potential job that you want to do. This is an important point, that people often tell the story of what they've done in the past, which isn't directly relevant to what they want to do in the future. So be future oriented here. What you achieved whilst you were with previous organizations that would be relevant to your new employer. And even if you feel, well, I'm not sure what achievements I have made, and you might feel intimidated about talking about your achievements, don't be worried about that. Be outcome focused. Even if they're modest achievements, they're perfectly valid. So just give a demonstration of the outcomes of what you've done in your job. Then we move on to the education section. So here you need to list your most recent qualifications first. Give the whole story, and if you've done a number of academic qualifications, then list them in the order of most recent first. If you haven't got many or any formal qualifications, then refer to your in-house training that you may have done within an organization. Now we come to the recommendations section. Now this is very important and can be very powerful. So this is where you need to find people who will give you a profile and a recommendation and reinforce what you've said in your profile so far. So you can let the other people do the selling for you, and this will considerably enhance the credibility of your LinkedIn profile. Who to ask? Then there's a number of sources that you can tap to build up these recommendations. Previous employers and colleagues whom you worked with in the past would be the obvious ones, but also customers that you may have worked with. If you've worked in a commercial or in a customer-facing role, tutors if you've had an academic career in the past, or alumni, fellow graduates who've also moved into the career world and can give you a profile or a recommendation on their experience of working with you. So this recommendation is going to build your credibility substantially. So it's well worth approaching relevant people via the LinkedIn site and soliciting their recommendations. There is a standard email that is sent from the site. I'd recommend that you modify that, personalize it to the person whom you're addressing the request, so that you can shape the recommendation that they give you. And finally, the LinkedIn groups. You'll see that as part of the LinkedIn website, they will recommend groups, specialist knowledge or interest groups that you can link up to. So you need to identify suitable groups and take up membership in these groups. Some of them you will need approval before you can join, others you can join automatically. This provides you with a networking opportunity. It also enables you to establish a reputation in your industry and take the pulse of what's going on, so you can keep up to date with the changes and developments within your particular specialization, and you can also become an influential figure within that community and exchange information, knowledge, and of course, most importantly, network contacts through those groups. So that's a very powerful means of building your online presence, of building your credibility within your community, and of raising your profile on the LinkedIn website. So there you go. We've been through the key aspects, the 6 elements to a perfect LinkedIn profile.